Okay, hello, year 9. So this is our lesson 6 of probability and statistics. So today we are going to do more about histogram, but this time we are going to do histogram with grouped data. So what do we mean by grouped data? So we need to compare with ungrouped data, right? Okay, so let's see what do we mean by ungrouped data and grouped data, right? Okay, for example, if I got 14 data of number of cars passing through a checkpoint in a fortnight, so there are 14 days. So each day you track number of cars passing through that checkpoint. So there are 14 data. Okay, so for the sake of convenience, I have arranged the order of data from the smallest to the largest. So previously we have learned how to tabulate these sorts of data into a frequency distribution table, just like the one I've done on the left hand side, right? So see that for this data, you can just write, okay, number of cars. If there are 2 cars passing through a checkpoint, so I write 2. If there are 3, I write 3. So there are 7 different types of data. You got 2, 3, 4, 5 without 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 7 different types of data. For each data, you got tally, and you got two data of 2, so and you got 4 data of 3. So that's how you get the table, right? So that's what we've learned last time. So when you got data like this is what we call ungrouped data, because you haven't grouped the data, right? So this is what we call ungrouped. So this ungrouped. Okay, ungrouped data. Okay, so you just write data like 2, how many 2, 3, how many 3. Okay, so it's the easiest way to record the data. But sometimes if there are too many data, if that's not just 7 different types of data, possibly if there are 20 something or 30 something different types of number of cars passing through that checkpoint, then if you write one by one, that would be a very long list. Okay, and the tabulation is not easy to understand, right? So another way to do it is using the table on the right hand side. This is what we call grouped data. Okay, how could we group that kind of data? Like you could group data from 0 to less than 3. Okay, from 0 to less than 3, that means 3 is not included. Okay, I repeat that, that's very important. 0 to less than 3, that means 3 is not included. So for this, what we call a class interval. So this is what we call a class interval. From that interval, we can collect data from 0 to less than 3. If that's less than 3, that means you only collect data for 0, 1, 2, because data must be integer in this case, right? Okay, so, and you see how many data is from 0 to less than 3. Okay, 0, 1, 2. So how many of them? So you could, if you check, you could see that's 2, 2. 3 is not included, right? Because it's 0 to less than 3, not including 3. Okay, so there are only 2 of them, so you write 2, alright? Okay, so next, we look for 3 to less than 6. So that means 3. That means, so that's second class interval. That means 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's see how many 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so, and 5. And 6, 7. Okay, so there's 7 of them. Okay, so there's 7 of them. Alright, so 6 to 9. 6 to 9. So for 6 to 9, that means it should be 6 and 7 and 8 without 9. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 4 of them. Alright, so lastly would be 9 to 12. That means 9. Okay, another color possibly. This one, 9, 10, 11, right, for this one. Okay, so we got only 9. We don't have others, right? So that's only 1. Okay, so when you get the total frequency, okay, so if we add all the frequencies, what do you get? 14. So you agrees with the total number of data. Okay, so when we compare two tables, you see for ungrouped table, the table normally seems bigger for the same group of data, but for grouped data, you actually use you reduce the size for the table, but you have to sacrifice the accuracy of your presentation. Of course, for example, if we say there are two days with a number of cars between 0 to less than 3, but you don't know for that 2 days how many cars. Okay, so possibly there are no cars, or one car, or 2 cars. Okay, so you lost some accuracy by using the grouped data. So remember that grouped data is more simplified. Okay, so smaller table, but at the same time less accurate. Okay, so that's a trade-off. Okay, less accurate. Alright, so that's the feature. Alright, so today we are going to do a lot of grouped data. Okay, so let's do one, grouping data into frequency distribution table. You need to group the data into frequency distribution table. Alright. Okay, so first set of data is there are 25 students in a math class, and you need to measure the height. Okay, so height is what kinds of variable? It's not, of course, it's not a discrete variable. It's a continuous variable, or we could say data. Okay, so it's continuous data for height, and grouped data is particularly good for continuous data. It could be used for discrete data as well as our illustration, but it will be even it will be becomes necessary for continuous data. So for discrete data, you could choose whether use ungrouped data presentation or grouped data presentation. But for continuous data, you have to treat it like you have to categorize them into grouped data. Alright, so that means you need to write the intervals. So this is what we call height interval. Okay, so for the height interval, normally the question will tell you what kinds of interval you are going to use. Okay, so normally they will give you the first interval to make things easier. So the first interval will be 130 to 140 cm, right? So remember, when you write like this, that means 140 is not included in this interval, 140 is on the next interval, and on the next interval 150 is not included, and so on. All right, so let's write all the interval first. What will be our next interval? It should be 150, right, to 160, because every time the width of the interval must be the same. 170, right, and 170 to 180. Okay, 180 to less than 190. Okay, so let's see how could we get the data. So the data here is already in ascending order, so it will be easier for us to look at. Okay, 130 to 140. Okay, so how about this one? Must be a data. All right, so do we have another one? 140.6, that's already greater than 140, so it's not in the first interval. So for the first interval, there's only one. Of course, if you want, you can include that tally column, but I think the data here is not that difficult, so we don't write the tally column here. Okay, 140 less than 150. Okay, how many of them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 151 is not in that one, in that interval. Alright, so how many of them? 6. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so possibly you could finish that for me. Alright, so it would be just easy, right? So you can just do that for me, right? Okay, so possibly I'm going to give you some time to finish this by yourself. Okay. Okay, so this will be the answer, right? 166552. Okay, so always track if you got the correct frequencies. All right, so if you add all of them together, okay, so what do you get? You got 25. So there are 25 students. So that means the tables will be very likely to be correct. All right, okay, and then let's do another one. Okay, so this one is a bit more challenging. Okay, because the data is not in ascending order, so you need to arrange them by yourself. Okay, so I understand it's a little bit difficult for you guys, because if you don't print this out and you just watch on the screen and you try to copy the things, but it's still you need to do once or twice as a practice. You know how difficult it is, right? Okay, so I'm going to do one for you. Organize data into 5 class intervals, so there are 5 of them. Okay, with width 5. Okay, so they give you the instruction width should be 5. The first class is from 5 to 10. Okay, so the hours, so the first class 5 to less than 10. Okay, so let's search for the okay, so this is data about number of hours per week spent watching television. Okay, so you need to find out how many data are from 5 to less than 10. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so 9.19 is 1. Okay, and 7.8, another one. 9.1, another one. 7.2, another one. 7.4, another one. So there are 5 of them. Okay, 11.4 is not. Okay, must be greater than 5, but less than 10, right? So 9 is one of them. 11 is not. No. Okay, right. How about 5? 5 should be included. Is from 5 to less than 10. 10 should not, but 5 should be included. Okay. Okay. Okay, still 8. Yeah, so that's pretty good. And how about 10? Okay, 10 should not be here, right? 10 should not be here because it's less than 10. Alright, 24, 21. Okay, this another one. That's it. So there should be 9 of them. Okay, so the frequency should be 9. Okay, alright, can you do the rest of them? Alright, okay. Okay, so here's the table. Track your answer, right? Okay. So always check whether they are you should have 40 totally. There are 40 data, right? Okay, 16. Okay, so 9 plus 7, 16, 26, 34. Okay, so that's 40. Okay, so that's correct. All right, so that would be the table. Okay, so B. So another type of question would be from frequency table of continuous data to histogram. So you need to write how to write the data into how to display your data from a frequency distribution table to a histogram. All right, so let's use this data. This data looks familiar, doesn't it? Because it's from our first question. Okay, so we use this data to construct a histogram. Okay, how could we construct a histogram? Remember last time we've learned how to construct a histogram. You need to leave some space between the vertical axis Alright, and each bar should have the same width, and also the height of the bar, the height of each bar should represent the frequency, and also there should be no gaps between all the bars. Alright, but since this data is for continuous data, so normally you need to write two numbers. Okay, one is on the left boundary of the bar, the other on the right boundary of the bar. Okay, for example, for the first interval is 130 to 140. Okay, so the first bar you need to write 130 to 140. Okay, and also the second bar would be 140 to 150. Okay, 140 to 150. Okay, and the first bar, the height should be 1 because the frequency 1. Second bar 6. That's it. So that's how we sketch that graph. Okay, can you see that? All right. Okay, so see from the table to the histogram, that isn't too difficult, right? Okay, so actually there's another way to represent the histogram. Let me show you. Okay, so that's another way. Okay, so let's say this is an alternatively, you might use this one. The only difference would be the way they indicate the values on the bar. With instead of write two values on the boundaries of each bar, they will only write the values of the midpoint. For example, for the first bar, it should be 130 to 140, right? But sometimes we just write 135. That would be the midpoint between 130 and 140. Okay, and this one would be 145. This one would be 155, 165, 175, 185. That's it. That will be all the data. Okay, that's another way, but normally we will prefer the first way. You write both the lower boundary and the upper boundary of each bar. That would be much better for us. Okay, so let's have a look for another question over here. Oh, okay, let's try to sketch one. Okay, so this is the hours of a television watch. So we've done that before on in our question. I think that should be question 2, right? Okay, this question. But now we've put them into a frequency distribution table. So let's see, can we just display that frequency table into a histogram? Okay, so how many bars should be there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That should be 5 bar. Okay, where is the first bar? The first bar should be one unit away from the vertical axis. All right. So, and also I need to give a title of that histogram. So the title of histogram should be hours watch. Okay. So the interval here should be hours. Okay. So you write the units, and also you need to have a scale, proper scale for that frequency. Okay, so the highest frequency should be 10, right? Okay, so do we have enough enough number of boxes we should have, right? So let's write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of it. Okay, so where should be our first bar? First bar should be 1 unit apart from, away from that frequency axis. So it should be 5 to 10. Okay, let's write that's 5 to 10. Okay, so it should be 5 to 10. And 10 to 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Okay, no 35, actually 30. Alright, okay, for 5 to 10, the frequency is 9, so I need to draw a bar. Okay, that's okay. The next one will be 7. Next one will be 7. Okay, and the next one will be 10. Okay, that's how we do it. Next one will be 8. Right, so just next one will be 6. Okay, that's it. Alright, so that difficult? No? Alright. Okay, so let's do another one. So this one is from a histogram to a table. Okay, so the last one is from a table to a histogram, but sometimes you are going to do from a histogram to a table, right? So possibly it will be easier. Okay, so first you need to write the mass. To write the mass, you need to write in terms of interval, and for the interval should be the first interval 60 to less than 70, right? How many of them? 2, alright? And the second one 60 to less than 80. How many of them? 5. Okay, let me give you some time to try it. Okay, so let me show you the table. Alright, so it's not the most difficult thing to do. Alright, okay, no problem. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so here you see a stem leaf diagram. Okay, and that stem leaf diagram is like if the stem means the number of tens digit and unit digit, and the leaf means the first decimal place. Alright, so 213, that means 21.3 kilogram. Okay, so you need to construct a frequency table with interval with width 1 kilogram. The first interval 18 kilogram to 19 kilogram. Okay, so remember, when we are talking about first interval 18 kilogram to 19 kilogram, 19 is not included. Alright, okay, so what you need to write is weight 19 kilogram to less than 18 to less than 19. So that would be the first one, and the second one should be 19 to less than 20. Okay, and 20 to less than 21, 21 to less than 22, 22 to less than 23, and 23 to less than 24. Alright, okay, so tally. So let's see how many from 18 to less than 19. So the first one 18.5, that means 18.5, right? So how many of them? So there are 3 of them, right? Okay, let's write it. Okay, so there are 3 of them. Okay, so that's one. Alright, and 19 to less than 20. Okay, so 19.2, 19.3, 19.6, 19.7, 4 of them. Okay, 20 to 21, So you see, actually that's is not that difficult, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so 6 of them. The next one, 21 to 22. How many of them? Right, so 4 of them. 22 to 23. Okay, so it should be only 3 of them, and over 23 to 24 should be only 1. Alright, so three, 4, 6, 4, 3, 1. Okay, let's check if the total frequency is correct. 7, 13, 17. Okay, 10, 17. So there are 21 of them. I need to count if there are 21 leaves. Oh, over here, yes, should be 21 leaves. All right. Okay. Okay. So there will be okay part of this question. Then you need to plot a diagram. Okay, to plot a diagram, use histogram. Okay, first, what's this histogram about? Weight of airline luggage. Okay, so for flights to Gold Coast, so we don't need write all of them. Okay, and alright, so let's see how many histogram, how many bars do we need? We need 6 of them. Alright, the highest frequency would be 6. Alright, so it should be okay. And so the interval should be kilogram. Alright. Right, so the first bar should be 18 for 19. Should start from here. And that's 20, 21, 22, 23. Oh, sorry, 23, 24. Okay. Okay, so yeah, so let's move that frequency over here. We could, so just easier for us to have a so we can compare, right? So just from here to here. Okay, so from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, the first bar will be 3, second bar 4, okay, the fourth 6, okay, another 4, and so that's 3, and that's 1. Okay, so the last one. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 6, 4, 3. Okay, well done. Okay, so that's it. So we could even interpret that stem leaf diagram into a histogram. That's what we can do. Okay. Alright, so for this type of data, let me remind you, this type of data will be continuous, because that's the mass of the weight of the luggage. Okay, for continuous data, it's always a good idea to use group the data. Okay, to use intervals to represent the data, and then you could use histogram. Alright. Okay, so then let's go to another type of question. So this type of question is going to find the mean and median of a group of data. Okay, so we have learned that before, how to find the mean and median. And also This is the main main thing here. So you need to indicate the position of mean and median, on the histogram by drawing vertical lines. So you need to draw lines on the histogram to indicate where is the mean and median. Alright, so of course you have to find the mean and median first by this group of data. So how to find the mean? Still remember how to find the mean? So mean is this one. So you need to add all the data divided by all the divided by number of data. So number of data here is given 25. So how many of data here? Too many. Alright, so I'm not going to write all of them, but I'm going to write the first few, and then you need to add all of them until the last one. So there are lots of additions to do. Of course you will use your calculator, right? You might try that by yourself to track the answer, but I've got one answer. I've got the answer like this one. So that's the answer I've got. Right, so that's the mean of the data. So and how about the median? So remember, median is the middle data. Middle means you need to find the location. Location would be the number of data, 25 plus 1 divided by 2. So the location would be 13th data. So you need to find which one is the 13th data. So 132.6 is the first one in ascending order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So this one will be our 13th data. So that one will be our mean. So median is so for this group of data, you see the mean and median, they are quite close. Alright, but that's what we have learned before. But now you need to indicate the position of your mean and median on that histogram. So how about the mean, which is 160. So 160. is very close to the boundary here, but possibly just a little bit to the right. Possibly that would be the position of our mean. 160.2. So how about median, which is 158. Right, so that's median 158. So that means is on the left hand side of 160, but very close to that 160. So possibly a little bit here. So that would be our median. That's what you are going to do in the examination, right? All you need to do is draw the median and mean on the diagram. So that so alright, so and these are the heights. So possibly we need to write the units. That height should be cm. Alright, so sorry about that. I need to write the units as well. That's it. So another data. Here is question 8. So I give you a stem leaf data. So remember that's 18.5. That means 18.5 kilograms. So that's the weight of airline luggage. Alright, so you need to find the mean and median, and then you indicate the mean median you found on the histogram. Okay, by drawing vertical lines, indicate the mean and median in the histogram. All right. Okay, so I'm going to give you some time to do it. Okay. Okay, so this is our mean. For mean, you just add all the data. Remember, the first data should be 18.5 kilogram, second should be 18.8, and the last one should be 23.2. You add all of them, and there are 21 data, right? So, and so you divide by 21, you've got 20.7. So that would be a mean. Median would be more difficult. Okay, median would be more difficult. Okay, median would be the middle data. Okay, so its position should be that 21 plus 1 divided by 2 should be 11 data. So where is the 11? So 18.5, so is the first, 0.8 second, 0.9 3. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11. Okay, so this 8 representing 20.8, which is our 11th data. All right, so our 11th data is 20.8, so the median is 20.8 kilogram. Okay, so you need to indicate them. So they're really close, real close, right? So X is 20.7, so it's more than halfway of 20, between 20 and 21. Okay, so possibly you need to draw a line over here. So 20.7, okay. Okay, it looks 20.7 for me. All right, okay. And let me indicate this as our mean, which is 20.7 kilogram. So how about our median? Our median should be just next to it. They are very close. They're very close, right? Possibly just like this. Okay, so this will be our median, which is 20.8 kilogram. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so that's all you need to learn in our lesson 6. Okay, so in the notes, in the handout of lesson 6, I give you some exercise as well. All right, so if you can have a look. Right, so all these are practices. Okay, so for this exercise, it's a bit difficult for you to just copy them and try to do it on a piece of paper. So possibly it would be a better idea for you to print them out and try to do it. If you don't have a printer, possibly you can you copy and place them into your computer, and you just do it in a electronic version, right? That would be easier for you, all right, because you need to sketch a lot of graph, all right, and like this thing, you need to do the table and sketch the histogram, construct the histogram, lots of things to do. There are 6 questions. Of course, I include the answer for you. Please do try to answer them before you try to see the answer, all right? So there's no point to copy all the answers, all right? Okay, you need to learn. All right, so that will be the end of today's video. So see you next time. Take care.